going over all your tools and products offered to you by CRMLS, CAR, NAR, and of course, Orange County Realtors. Now, not only do I and Leo train on MLS, how to run searches, add and modify listings, create CMAs, all that fun stuff, but Leo and I also train on zip forms. We show you how to access your transactions electronically, how to digitally sign them, all the advanced tools. And of course, Leo and I love training on technology. Okay. I am a ePro designated, paperless pro certified trainer. So my job is to help you go paperless in your business. So that's kind of what I do. I love showing all the extra tools that the associations have to offer to help make your real estate lives that much easier. Now, with that said, I'm joined by our co-host today, Leo Loera. Hi, Leo.
Hi, everyone. Yes, I'm Leo Loera with the Orange County Realtors. I sometimes get confused with my wonderful friend, Anthony.
Yes,
He's
we
been
look
with
alike.
us on the 11th of this month. He'll be with us for 20 years. So he started when he was, I think, 8 years old, 9 years old. I don't remember.
Yeah, right. 30.
And he's learned so much since then. So congratulations for a great academic background. For me, it's only been 15 years. I'm one of the youngsters, and I've started in membership, progressed from membership over becoming the super key specialist, and taught a number of different topics, including membership, currently zip forms, and other topics. So I'm going to let Anthony do most of the talking, and this is his expertise. So take it away, Anthony.
Well, thank you, Leo. So today, what our class is all designed about social media marketing is coming up with a game plan. Okay. So things to think about, to talk about on your social media platforms or do videos of. I'm going to really stress that you should be doing videos. Most everybody in social media marketing, or most of your modern marketing today, is going to require you or recommend that you do that. Now, realistically, we're all about strategy. Okay. You have to develop and have a strategy for your social media to work. Okay. You got to think of it like playing chess. Okay. Got to have a strategy in playing chess, because without one, you can't ever expect to win at the game or even be successful. So in a way, what we're doing is now we're thinking of social media, our marketing as a game. We've got to have a strategy to win this game or make it as successful as possible. Okay. Now, you may go, well, geez, Tony, how many strategies can there be? Because chess has probably got, what is it, 100 different strategies to be able to win, right? Not necessarily here. We've got 3 core strategies to think about. There are 3 different possible strategies that you can use for your game plan. Strategy number 1 that you can do in your social media marketing, or even just marketing in general, is that it's something real estate related that you are the expert on. That's all you do. All your postings, all your videos, all your pictures, it's just purely 100% listings and real estate. You have opinions about real estate. You've got listings you want to get out there. You've got clients you want to promote. That's all you do. And there's nothing wrong with that. A lot of people do this. Now, strategy number 2, it's something non-real estate related that drives you passionately. Things like wine tasting, cooking, food, shopping, travel, whatever drives your passions. You don't talk about real estate whatsoever. You only talk about those things that you want people to have in common with you. Now, strategy number 3 is something of a mix of both worlds of strategy number 1 and number 2, meaning that in your postings, you mix in a little bit of real estate with a little bit of your passions. That way it shows that you're a well-rounded individual for people to get to know the full you. So when it comes to your game plan, coming up with your strategy, out of these 3 strategies, which one is going to be best suited for you? And if you want, feel free to comment. Anybody here like these strategies? And you can give me a quick show of hands. Anybody here have an idea of what strategy you want to shoot for? And you can write it in the chat if you wish. Anybody? Did I already lose everybody?
No way.
Leah.
We're just blown away with all this information.
All right, so I see Bridget here. She likes the strategy number 2. Great.
Okay, excellent.
Anybody here like strategy number 1 or number 3? No one?
I think we're all
Leo,
shy.
if you were marketing, which strategy would you personally like?
Gosh, I like Bridget's answer too. Yeah, I like number 3. I'm gonna
Okay.
be like a bandwagon kind of person and go with Bridget because Bridget says 3 and Tony
Oh,
says 3, so I'll go with
good.
3.
Awesome. So we've got a couple of people here that want to go with strategy number 3. It's a bit of mixture of both, right? A little bit of real estate that you're an expert on, a little bit of things that get to know you as a person a little bit better by showing your hobbies, your likes, dislikes, things like that. It's a little bit of a mixture of all 3. Now, no matter what strategy you actually honestly do pick, you need to be 3 major things. No matter what, when it comes to social media and the internet, you need to be 3 things. Number 1, you need to be yourself. Number 2, you got to be creative and fun and open to engage with people. Now, I know that one we're going to have a fun time talking about because I'm sure a few of you attending today and some of you watching out there in the universe are probably thinking, well, geez, I'm a big introvert. I don't really like engaging with people. Hey, when it comes to business, especially when it comes to sales, we got to be able to be willing to engage with people. If we don't engage, we can't expect to ever make that sale. And not number 3, we need to be a friend and a source of data, a source of information. So we want to be all 3 components here, no matter what, in all of our social media. Now, being yourself. This is something that some of us, especially starting off in social media marketing or even just social media in general, this is probably going to be the hard part. Relationships are built on trust and vulnerability. So that means that we need to be open, to be trusting, to be a trustworthy source. And of course, that means that we have to be vulnerable about who we are. Because honestly, a friend is someone who actually gives you total freedom to be yourself. Okay. And honestly, being yourself means that also people buy from those people that they trust. How many of you have bought something from somebody that you didn't trust? Probably some of us, right? Did you like the experience? No. Did we ever go back to that person? No. But if we bought something from somebody that we trusted, maybe at the local store, the shoe store, the clothing store, the car shop, whatever, we always go back to those people because we trust that they won't steer us wrong. Well, if we trust people in those avenues, shouldn't they trust us in the same capacity? So we've got to be able to earn that trust so that they can buy and sell their homes through us, or list or lease or put up for rent those properties. So that means that our online personas have to reflect the person that we are truly in person. How many of you ever do online dating or have done it? Anybody?
Online what again?
Dating.
Oh, that's where I met my wife. I'm kind of surprised by the question, but yes, I've met my wife there and we're happily married. Thank you.
All right. And I see here Bridget has done online dating as well. Excellent, Bridget. Thank you for being open and honest about that. So my big question is this. When you met somebody online and you kind of were intrigued by the way you had a great conversation with them, and then when you finally made that date, maybe at the coffee shop, or maybe you went out, met them at the local bar to have a couple of drinks or maybe for dinner, and then all of a sudden when you met them, him or her, it was a disappointment. Maybe they didn't look the way they looked in their photos when they sent them to you. Maybe they didn't speak to you or talk to you the way that they talk to you online. Or maybe they were just totally opposite. Were you disappointed, Leo?
The truthful answer, since I've only
Yes.
dated one person,
Online?
Online, it was the best experience in my life.
Oh, okay. But that was because she was who she was, right? You
Good
met her
Lord.
online. She was the way she was online. And then when you met her, she was the exact same way, right?
That's right. Truth in advertising. Yes, that's who
Right.
she
So if she
is.
wasn't truthful in advertising, like maybe she's told you, and I see here, Bridget, yes, twice, both awful. Lucky Leo, excellent, Bridget, thank you. Right? These things happen. So that means when we're trying to build trust, trying to be vulnerable, we need to be the person that we say we are. Okay. Like online dating, here, building relationships or building professional relationships, we have to be the same way. So I know some of us have that switch of we talk to a client one way versus somebody in our personal circle a different way. This now means that if we're meeting our clients constantly and being constantly in front of them online and in person, that means that we have to be the true, honest person that we are today, no matter what. So this is where we need to do that. Now, vulnerability, being who you are, allow people to see that inner person, right? Maybe you post a couple of things that maybe Leo takes 20 minutes out of his day every day to sit in the corner and have a timeout, right? He needs to recollect his thoughts from a stressful day. So he requires, and guess what? People are going to relate to that. People might even appreciate that. Geez, Leo, that's awesome. Does that work for you? Awesome. Great. I'm going to try that. Now, do we have to tell everything about ourselves? No. We can still leave an air of mystery, right? Like I'm sure people wouldn't want to see, even though Leo's trying to be vulnerable, that in those 20 minutes of sitting in the corner and recollecting his thoughts, he's having a good 20-minute cry a couple of times a day, right? Not everybody wants to see things like that. And maybe that should be reserved for those people in our really, really inner circle of friends. But for our clients, they don't need to know that we cry every other day or every day. Okay. So be mindful of how much information you want to divulge, but at least still give them an insight. Now, number two, being creative and fun and engaging. You got to think of unique, fun ways of communicating with people. Okay. Especially information about your business, regardless of popular belief, especially if you're talking about statistics like the market. It doesn't have to be given in a boring fashion, right? We've seen those people on the news, right, Leo? You've seen people on CNN or NBC or Fox or whatever that when they start reading statistics, they sound really super dry. And that's probably what you fall asleep to, right?
Yes, it really helps if you have problems with sleeping.
Right. But we don't want to lose that audience. So we got to, think of fun ways to communicate that information, right? If you're a happy-go-lucky person, let that shine. Remember, being your true self, being the person who you are, being lively and engaging. This is how we're going to do that. Okay. So when we're giving that information in a fun, entertaining way, people will actually retain that data more than somebody who just gave the hard numbers and analytically that way. Just like schools are coming up with unique, fun ways of getting people to absorb what it is that they're teaching. Well, here we are kind of like teachers, or real estate agents are like teachers. They got to come up with fun, unique ways for people to grab onto the information and run with it. This is how we're going to build our rapport ultimately. Now, by the way, a friend gives great information. When people start to gravitate to us, start to want to be friends with us, this is where we are now able to give good advice, because people always ask their trusted friends for advice and guidance in making big, giant decisions. Here's a perfect example. Bridget, when you date somebody, do you bring them in front of your friends after maybe your third or fourth date? Probably, right? Why? because you want to get their input. And based on their input will help you determine, because maybe you're in that, I'm kind of in that deciding stage. I'm not sure if I want to stay with this person or invest any more time in them. Let me bring them in front of my friends, because if my friends have the same opinion that maybe I'm having, I'm going to listen to them to help either decide to continue or terminate this relationship, right? Business is no different. We ask friends, family, colleagues on, should I buy this car? Should I, let me test drive it with me, or, this motorcycle, or better yet, this home? Well, who better to ask about buying a home than the trusted friend that's you? Do I want to go to Janie Smith down the street and ask her, is it a good time to buy, who's not even in real estate and has bought her home 20 years ago? Or should I talk with the person, Leo, that I've met online, build a great rapport with him because I like the way he communicates, and trust that he's going to give me the correct information about my situation? This is the things that we want to strive for when it comes to our social media marketing. This is our solidifying friendship. My past clients always ask me my opinion. That's great, Bridget. Why? Because you've got that great rapport with them. You have become that trusted source because they've gotten to know you from your past escrows or your past experiences, and probably that continued relationship since. Now, when it comes to social media, things to talk about things like the market. What are the conditions? Is it a buyer's or seller's market? Is it a recession market? Is it a downturn market? Is it a post-apocalyptic market? Talk about that. We see all these different news sources. Most of these news sources nowadays about your market are anywhere from 3 to 6 months behind. And most of them are so doom and gloom right now that people are panicked. Well, what's our job? We don't want people to panic. We want people to think rationally to make a well-informed decision. Talk about those things. Talk about the community, right? The communities that you're marketing. I can't tell you how many videos I've seen outside of California talk about certain cities and communities that agents are marketing in, about why it's a good place to live, or why is it a bad place to live, or what things are going on in that community. Special events, 4th of July, Christmas, Thanksgiving, Halloween, whatever. Things that maybe the city is putting on that not everybody knows about. Current events, the weather, great things, right? Market rates, interest rates, the impact of interest on buying a home right now. Your strategy based on these current events. And of course, those personal items, the things that interest you. Sports, TV, articles, and you in general, what's going on in your life. Now, why are these last two things important? Anybody? Leo, what are these last two things hopefully we'll try to accomplish?
You're talking about current events and things that interest you?
No, the things that interest you and you in general. Like if you're talking about yourself, you're talking about sports, you're talking about cooking, you're talking about wine tasting, what is that geared towards?
My likes, but my concern would also be I may alienate some people
Well,
about things that I like.
well, we won't talk about necessarily the alienation just yet, but the likes, right? Why? Because people of common interest gravitate to us to more. Great, Tony. Connection. You and I like football, right? Even though you might be a Raiders fan and I may, what are they now called? The Commanders, aka the Washington Redskins, right? Or you know what? We both like food or tequila or whatever. We have a common interest. We have that connection. Having a connection, what? Solidifies our relationship. We have things to talk about. We have common interests. We want to know what's going on. So those are good, important things. Now, there are things to talk about. There are also things not to talk about. Trivial things like walking the dog. Now, walking a dog in a gorgeous neighborhood where a gorgeous view might be of interest to somebody. But just saying, I woke up this morning at 6 a.m., went downstairs, went to the bathroom, then I had a donut, then I decided to wash my hands, nobody really cares about, right? Stay away from polarizing topics. The biggest two polarizing topics, religion and politics. If anything, the last 5 or 6 years have shown us is that politics and religion are the most polarizing things and get people in the most trouble, right? I don't know about you guys, but I know that I was raised that you do not talk about politics at a family gathering or at dinner. Why? Because it causes arguments. Nowadays, it goes beyond the argument, unfortunately. People get violent. People get really upset. I've had family members defriend other family members just because they had a difference of opinion. And that's sad, unfortunately. Now, when it comes to business, we definitely want to avoid that as real estate agents. Why? Because we don't want to alienate 50% of our clientele. It's great to have an opinion, but you know what? You can have those opinions offline. If somebody tries to get you into a heated discussion about these types of polarizing topics, just say, hey, I respect your opinion, but this is not the venue for you to voice that. I respect that, I respect your differences, but at this point in time, we can take and discuss that offline. Feel free to give me a call. Okay. Obviously, we don't want to be rude or vulgar or obnoxious. Unfortunately, there are a lot of what they call trollers out there that just go out of their way to try to be that way to get you into that argument. We definitely don't want to criticize others. Why? Code of ethics. Our biggest deal with code of ethics is that we're going to treat everyone with the utmost respect, whether they're clients, potential clients, or even other agents. Right? How many of you feel that when you see an agent starting to criticize somebody, even in a face-to-face situation, that just turns you away from them? You don't want to work with them, right? Think about this. Online never goes away. And obviously, we also don't want to sell things in the wrong venue. If we're on our Facebook personal page or we're doing something on a personal website, the last thing we want to do is interject something real estate related on that portal. This is why Facebook has Instagram for business and Facebook has the Facebook business page. They want to see you do business on the business platforms. You can reshare it to your personal, but they want to see it originated on those particular platforms. Now, by the way, are there any questions so far? Everything seems pretty simple. Am I going too slow?
You're fine, but I'll give a moment to everyone else respond to either say the same or not say anything at all, which is fine because I think the information you're providing is very helpful, very prevents future arguments.
Any words of wisdom on that, Leo?
I think you need to change your team, your football team.
Thanks. Thanks. I agree to disagree.
There's always the Buffalo Bills.
Oh yeah, or the Cowboys.
Oh no.
All right. So, what and how your message stands out. This is going to be important. You have to make your message stand out. Don't be afraid to stand out in the crowd. Do I have anybody that considers themselves an introvert? You're afraid to stand out in the crowd? I see Leo raising his hand. Don't. Right? How do you ever expect to do business if you're afraid to even talk about those types of things? If you're afraid to make your messages stand out, you will never, ever be heard or seen. We've got to think of those unique things that make our messages stand out that we want people to stop and take notice for. Once you start doing what everybody else does and it looks the same as everybody else, you get lost in the mix. So we've got to come up with ways to stand out in this crowd. Now, doesn't mean that introverts, you can't still be an introvert, but introverts, I'm asking you to come out of your comfort zone, even just a little bit. part of doing that, the message. Here are various different social media posts that can stand out. Now, a couple of nice things here. I know this one real estate agent, she's out in Chicago. She's, I think, a real estate broker, but she's also a national speaker for NAR. Her name is Marky Lemons Rowell. She's a big time Instagram user. She's made a lot of great connections. And actually, when Instagram was in its infancy, she saw the power of video and pictures. Here we've got a nice little video, her talking, and the words are now transcribing. I think that's a big thing nowadays with Facebook. They transcribe everything automatically in a fun, entertaining way to get the message to stand out. So look at it that way. Also, the background image here, Marky Lemons Rowell, she talks about being recognized in Realtor magazine and how appreciative she is. But those are in-depth messages. But let's go something super simple. Here's something from Instagram. Not by Marky, but just in general. Window cleaning 101. Simple. 1 part vinegar, 1 part hot water equals a streak-free natural cleaning solution. So those of you who are into non-chemical solutions for cleaning your house, here's one for you. Something like this will gravitate to those people that are like mind to you. I'd love not to spend, what is it? A few $100s a month on cleaning products. Here's something that's natural. If you don't mind the smell of vinegar, but anybody here take that spoonful of vinegar each and every day? That's supposed to help with your digestion, your skin. Anybody ever hear of that remedy?
I don't do it, but my coworker Nancy does, and
Yeah.
it works.
And it works, right? Great, for your fingernails, for your hair, your complexion, and digestion. Tastes awful.
You get used to
taking
it.
a spoon. You get used to it after a while, but something simple. Here in the background, we got rent versus buy. Now, in the post, the advantages of renting versus the advantages of owning. A great, simple infographic style message. Here's one that I like the most. Which backyard do you prefer? And it's a picture of 2 different backyards. Now, just to share something here, a couple of years ago, when I was teaching this class at one of the offices, one of the agents really liked this image and just was really intrigued. Would this actually work? And I said, do you have any listings? Well, yes, I've got 2 different listings, one in Huntington Beach and one in San Clemente, but both with 2 different backyards. And I said, great. Put those pictures together and ask the simple question. So she did that. She called me up the next day and she goes, Tony, this is pretty amazing. She goes, I gave them the choice. Which backyard do you prefer? Put it on my Instagram and my Facebook. In 24 hours, I had 235 views. I didn't even boost the post. Out of those 255 views, about half of them liked the top picture, half of them liked the bottom one. Out of those people that liked them, I had about 6 different people for each one want to see those exact properties. She goes, I'm hopeful that I'll get into escrow later this week. And this was just a mere 2 or 3 years ago. So something as simple as giving someone a choice about something that you've listed, or maybe an area that they want to buy in, would be great engagement. You don't have to say much. You let the audience give you that feedback. Now, how are you delivering the message is important. Are you text or writing, or are you doing videos or photos? Just remember, today, people receive 90% of all information through their visual cortex. Now, crazy enough, people remember 70% more information and respond 40% better to visual stimuli than just reading text. Perfect example. How many of you can remember a TV show that was on 20 years ago? If you're older than 30, like myself, right? Gilligan's Island, Brady Bunch, Sanford and Son. We probably remember it. We can picture the people, we can hear the song in our heads. Why? Because we just watched it, and we still watch them today. Leave It to Beaver. Anybody watch Leave It to Beaver? Amazon Prime's got it. And it's so funny to watch that because I'm like, oh my gosh, I remember watching this when I was a kid. So, and I bet you if you were given your real estate classes in a form of a video, you'd probably remember 70% of your real estate classes versus not remembering most of it after you've taken your test. Anybody like that? You took your test and you then forgot almost everything that you learned for the test the moment you passed it, right? Just know that visual postings on social media, basically video, has 170% boosted engagement automatically. The moment you put a video online and you start doing video, people will engage with you more often than not than just writing blog posts or writing text or reposting articles. Now, another part of your plan is time management. You need to make and manage your time for Facebook and other social media. It's like everything else in life. You got to set time to do it. How many of you live by a schedule? I should see every hand raised. Bridget, Tony, Sandrine, Monique, everybody, right? I know I do. I know Leo does. But all postings aren't the same. Each platform's a little bit different. Facebook's a little bit different than Twitter. Twitter's different than LinkedIn. LinkedIn's different than Instagram and YouTube. When you're posting to your platforms, you want to make sure that you optimize the best times so that your post will actually be seen. Now, what is your schedule? Remember, we all live by a schedule. We schedule our appointments, we schedule our showings, or we schedule appointments, we schedule inspectors, we schedule escrows, we schedule appraisers. We got to schedule our workout, we got to schedule our dinners and lunches and breakfasts and our time with our loved ones, and of course, time to work out. We also got to schedule time for social media. Now, once we decide on our schedule, we got to stick with it. Now, just so you know, Facebook, here I said minimum 3 times a week. It's actually 3 times a day. Their algorithm has changed so drastically in the past couple of years. They don't want to see how long you spend on their platform, but they want to see how many times a day throughout the day you go to their platform. Now, I know immediately most of you go, oh my God, 3 times a day? I don't think I have time to do all that. Literally 15 to 20 minutes a day on Facebook. That's it. That's all you need, 15 to 20 minutes a day. Now, I know you may go, well, that doesn't sound like a lot. It's not. But then how do I do it 3 times a day? Easy. 5 minutes in the morning before you're showering, maybe drinking your coffee, having a bagel, drinking your smoothie, right? Pop on for about 5, no more than 10 minutes. Peruse what people posted the night before. Maybe like, maybe comment, maybe post something about getting your day started. Then about lunchtime, maybe midday, minimally, between 11 and 1, you spend maybe another 5 to 10 minutes. Then the evening, third time, maybe while you're just chilling out after dinner, spend the last 5 to 10 minutes of that day. So 5, 5, 5, that's 15 minutes minimum. What'll happen is if you go 3 times a day on Facebook, About 3 out of 5 posts that you post on Facebook will now be seen by all of your friends and family on Facebook. Because the algorithm kicks off to say, oh, geez, Leo is going multiple times throughout the day. That means he must be needing to say important things. So we're going to get his posts seen more often than not. Any more than 3 or 4 times, you got to be really, strategic about what it is that you're posting at that point, but at least 3 times a day. And again, stick with it. Habits take anywhere from 30 to 100 days. Actually, a habit takes 30 days to get into. To make it permanent as part of your life, 100 days. So if you stick with this for 100 days, guaranteed it will be now ingrained in your DNA to do it each and every day. So some suggested successful tips. Thursday and Fridays between 1 and 3 are considered the best times to post on Facebook. Why? People are wanting to get their weekend started, so they want to see what other friends, family, colleagues are doing for the weekend to maybe want to connect. So this is a good time to post any open houses that you may be sitting at or hosting that weekend. A business posts on average 8 times a day. I'm asking you to do it at least 3 times a day. Post multiple times throughout the day versus spending hours. Don't get yourself sucked into the time suck. Now, Leo, do you know what the time suck is on Facebook?
Time suck on Facebook?
Oh yeah. It's very simple. Let me see here if I can go to Facebook. It's very, very simple. When you're on Facebook and you're going through your news feed,
okay,
right? And all of a sudden you see a video.
okay,
and you click on that video. And now all of a sudden that video plays, and then the next video, and then the next video, and then the next video, and then the next video. And then before you know it, it's what, 2 or 3 hours later? This is called the time suck.
I see. Yeah,
right?
And I'm guilty of that. At least
we're all guilty of that.
sometimes 3 hours at a time, 4 hours, even more.
3 or 4 hours. Don't you have better things to do than spend 3 or 4 hours on Facebook?
Yeah, sleeping.
Exactly. So don't get yourself caught up in the time suck. The time suck is don't spend more time on there thinking that your posts are going to be seen more often. Again, that Facebook algorithm shows how many times you hit Facebook each and every day. The more you hit it, the more your posts will be seen. But again, three times a day will get at least out of your 5 posts, 3 of them seen. So maybe you be strategic about the 3 posts. Maybe you go, well, maybe my first and 5th might not be seen, but the second, third, and fourth, or the second, third, and fourth will be. So maybe those 3 posts will be the more important posts. Now, images and video account for 75 to 90% of all the Facebook ad performances. So if you're doing a Facebook targeted ad, make sure that there's a video in it. Even if it's of the property, make sure that there's a video in it. Now, we'll talk about video here in just a few moments, but just know this is going to be huge. Why? Because 47% of Facebook video ads happen within the first 3 seconds after someone looks at the ad. When people look at the ad, 26% of those users who clicked on the ad responded, 26% of the Facebook users who clicked on the ad reported as making a purchase from that ad. 26%, that's huge. I'm sure most of us are guilty for that. Leo, have you ever clicked on the video ad and then bought an item related to that ad?
I may have.
Probably a gadget, maybe some clothing. Has Gloria ever done that?
Yes.
Yes, right? She saw an
It's
ad, she
all over
liked
that
it.
room over there. So it's just all over. It filled up that
Well,
room right over there.
Agents, think about your homes. Can you imagine that if you put a Facebook targeted ad that has a video on it, and now you've increased your chances of someone buying that property by 26%? That's huge. Start doing videos about your property. Start doing videos about the neighborhoods. Start doing videos and put those in those targeted ads to intrigue people to want to move to that area, to want to buy that property, to reach out and connect with you professionally. Now, 1 in 5 Facebook videos are actually live broadcasts. People don't want to see everything scripted. They want to see you live, raw. That's why most of those videos that you see being recorded from a car, somebody sitting in the car, somebody driving in the car, whatever, get a lot of posts or get a lot of views because people want to see genuineness. They want to see what you're coming up with off the cuff. You got something to say in that moment, say it. People will respond better to that than you sitting down in a studio with a background like me talking about stats. 42% of consumers services, or I'm sorry, 42% of customer services responded to an inquiry to an ad. So the moment they put out an ad and they got an inquiry about the ad, they're responding within 60 minutes of that response. Time is of the essence. Today, internet marketing requires you to be on Johnny on the spot or Joanne on the spot. Okay. When somebody reaches out to you, they expect somebody to give them a call or a call back or pick up the phone right then and there. As a matter of fact, today's algorithms, like from Zillow, from Realtor.com, from NAR, say that a customer inquiring about a property to an agent expects a response of less than 30 seconds. If they feel that they're calling you, they feel that you need to be picking up within 30 seconds or they're off to another agent. If you can't give them that information or you're not there to pick up the phone, they're off to the next agent. I'll give you a perfect example. A few years ago, I was in Texas with my wife. We were both looking for an investment property. Where did we go? We went to Zillow. On Zillow, we saw a couple of homes. I went right down the list of preferred agents. One was the listing agent and then the other 3 agents. I called the listing agent, they never picked up. I then called the second agent, they never picked up. I called the third agent, they never picked up. I called the fourth agent, they never picked up. I left messages for all 4. 2 days later, I got a call from agent number 3 out of all 4 agents. By then, we had already left Texas, so it was too late. California, our business is faster than most other areas. We need to be faster agents. We need to be there to pick up the phone. If you don't pick up the phone, can you imagine how much of your commission you're now just throwing away? If you're there buying leads, make sure you pick up that phone, or else it's wasted money. No different here than social media marketing. You put an ad out, you send out an ad, look for your notifications, enable them, send them to your phone. And then when you look at your phone, pick up the phone and talk or respond. Now, here's a guide. Something to do every day. If you want, I can email you a copy of this presentation. One of the big key things that everybody always says is, well, what do I post? I just don't know what to do. Here you go. Most of the days of the month are 30. There's what? 1 month that's only 28 days. And there's what? 3 months, Leo, there are 31 days. Other than that, everybody else is 30. Right? January, December, and
August.
August, and October. So 4 months that have 31 days.
Yes, because it goes by the knuckles.
There you go. Oh, we have a response here. Yes, please. Would love the calendar. Excellent. I'll make sure that you get that, Bridget. Send me an email with your email. So I'll forward this to you. By the way, here's some suggestions when you're doing an Instagram or a Facebook Live, some topics to talk about real quick. We'll dive deeper into this, but this is part of the presentation as well. Maybe the top 3 things to do to get your home ready on the market. You do a quick video about it. You do a quick Reels or an Instagram or YouTube video or all of the above. Biggest bang for your buck. Top 5 things to consider before you list your property or buy a property. Top 3 things you need to do to prep yourself to buy a home. Have a down payment. Talk to a lender. Don't buy any big purchases or don't make any big purchases. Holidays. Things going on. Maybe an open house review. Something like that. By the way, any questions so far? Before we dive into making videos and posting them on YouTube or coming up with a strategy?
We'll give it a moment for anyone to type up something. But these are all great ideas. Wow.
Oops, because I just spilled water all over myself.
It's okay. It's organic. It's fine. But also another great idea when you start talking about neighborhoods, you might want to look into the local city halls, see what things are going on there, because sometimes a lot of the information of fun events for seniors or kids are sometimes listed on the city hall websites.
Definitely. And it's amazing how many people don't know, like myself, don't know what's going on. You know, oh, we had elections, we had, a city council, or hey, the mayor is doing this to such and such city, or hey, there's a new farmers market that just opened up. It's happening every Saturday between 11 and 5, whatever. People love finding out about those types of things.
Yeah,
Any responses?
Perfect example would have been when I was heading home one day. I went past Mile Square Park and they were advertising a 5K and 10K run within the city of Fountain Valley, and it's not advertised really anywhere. So it was sponsored by Hyundai, the vehicle.
There you go.
So it was a fun day. I didn't get to do it because, why, I live too dang far away from there, but it looked like a fun thing to do around Mile Square Park. So for those people who live there, it was a fun thing to get to see more of Mile Square Park that they normally just see on the outer edge rather than going inside of it and enjoying it.
That's awesome. All right, so let's talk about YouTube. Seeing how there are no questions, and it seems like everybody, seems to kind of get this, right? Kind of get where we're going with this.
Yes.
All right. So, like with our strategy, when it comes to directing videos, it's got to have a plan, right? Like everything else we do, when it comes to our marketing, we need to have a plan. The idea is, I want to use videos in my marketing, but it's the plan that puts this idea into action. So we got to develop a good plan, right? You can talk about it all day long, but if you have no plan in place, you'll never get it off the ground and make it work. So I've got a 4-part plan for you. Part number 1, you got to dedicate some resources. Okay. You don't have to spend a ton of money to make videos. As a matter of fact, making videos today is the easiest DIY, do it yourself tool out there. Okay. You got to dedicate some time to record. Just like with everything else, like we were talking about your schedule, you got to put some time into it. You got to schedule some time off. You got to have a place to record, either your office or your home, whatever is a quiet place for you to actually maybe concentrate and think. Last thing you want is to have the gardeners outside your door with the air blower trying to make a video. Doesn't sound good. Maybe you need to go to the office. A lot of offices right now have a nice quiet time because most people are not in the office. Or maybe the office is super busy right now and your kids are at school. You decide you want to do it at home. Again, easy place. Don't have to spend a lot of money to do it. You also have to have equipment like a camera. Now, I will tell you that today's cell phone devices like iPhone or Android is good enough. As a matter of fact, your phone devices actually take 4K quality video. Now, for those of you who go, well, I've heard the term 4K, but what does that really mean? Okay. Anybody remember 1080p? 1080p was the quality of the video. Now, Leo, how long ago was 1080p a big deal? Probably what, 5 years ago
Um,
or 6 years?
Gosh, it really seems like a long time, but
In
yeah,
the
it's been,
technology world, yes, it was
yes.
a long time, but realistically, it's probably about 5 years ago. Now, 1080p just means the pixels, I do believe, right? The quality of the color pixels together on the screen and the camera that's taking them. Now, 4K just means it's 4 times 1080p, the number of pixels condensed in a particular um, square of your screen. So nowadays, with your phone devices taking 4K up to 8K quality video, these are very good. You do not need to spend hundreds, if not thousands of dollars on a high-end camera that your phone camera can do just as easily. And again, affordable, right? You have your phone device. I don't know of anybody that doesn't have a smartphone. If you still have if you have a flip phone, then this is probably the time that you want to think about getting a smartphone. Okay. Now, you also should, I would personally recommend sorry, I would definitely recommend a microphone of some sort. Now, when it comes to a microphone, again, you don't have to spend a lot of money. You can get the simple lavalier microphone that can connect up to your phone device, that connects up to your phone device. Okay. Now, I would say you can go online to Amazon, get a plug-in microphone or lavalier that just hooks to your lapel or to your blouse, and now you can have a nice clear audio going into your phone. And that's about $20 or $30 tops. Now, if you want to save yourself some money, most of us, like with an iPhone, came with our headsets, right? The wired headset that came with your phone. So you're looking at something that's absolutely free, and part of that wired headset does not just do audio. If you notice that little uh, uh, round cylinder device that's kind of thick compared to the wire, not only is the up and down volume of the headset, but it's also a noise canceling microphone. That's why people with the wired headsets into their phone can talk on their phone. It's not that the phone is listening, it's the wired mic that's listening. And usually the microphone is far enough away from your mouth that it picks up your voice just as clear. And that's totally included with your phone. Now, some of us have gone out and have bought the pods or the ear pods. So you're spent maybe $120 on these little ear pods. Well, guess what? They have got microphones built into them as well. And they are great to do audio on your phone device. Now, the next most important part is some sort of video editing software. There are tons of them out there. Some free, some not so free. The free ones, iMovie. If you're a Mac user, iMovie comes both with your phone device, your tablet device, and your computer device. You record the video. Now with iMovie, you can quickly do some edits, and from there, post it to the web. Post it on YouTube, post it on Facebook, post it on Instagram, post it on Bing or wherever. Bomb. Movie Maker is the PC free version of iMovie. Movie Maker is PC's simplified video editing software. So if you're a PC, Mac, HP, Lenovo computer user, you can do that too. You download the software and now you can edit the video. Now, if you're on both devices, like a phone device and a computer device, but your computer's PC, your phones are iPhone, your iPad's an iPad, and you just need things that are going to be seamless and internet based, then WeVideo. WeVideo for $100 a year I can now upload the video through the web, no software to download. And now I can go to any mobile device, computer device, anywhere in the world, access my account, and begin to edit my videos. I can record my screens. I can do everything I need to. So some sort of video editing software is what you need. Any questions on part 1 of the plan? No questions? Okay, let's go with part 2. What's part 2 of the plan? Well, you got to figure out.
Going back to what you were just talking about, any suggestions with the type of microphone? I like when you show off your microphone that you have there at the office.
Oh, you mean at my home office?
Oh yes, you don't have that there with you.
My USB mic.
Yes.
Let's see here if I've got Amazon.
But it's a wonderful invoice. I mean, not invoice. It's a wonderful microphone because it also has a screen on it, so that way you don't get a lot of. Psh, psh. I mean,
Oh yeah, the pop mic.
yes.
I mean, you could spend like $34 to get a USB mic, or a couple of $100. I think here's what you're talking about. For $34, you get the USB mic with a stand and a little pop mic. You've got that. Or you can spend $52 where you get the arm, so you can mount it on your desk and kind of move it around for your video recording studio kind of thing. But again, super simple to use. It's a plug and play that I like. Here's one for your phone device or your computer device. It's super simple, but you can do that as well. So like phone microphone. And here you've got all sorts of ones for the phone. Some are wireless. So the wireless transmitter connects to your phone via Bluetooth, and then you can connect the broadcasting mic to your lapel, which connects to the transmitter, which now connects to your phone. So now all of a sudden, my phone could be on a stand 30 feet away, and they can still hear me as clear as day. And it looks like this one's got 2 mics, so I could do that for an interview, which is great for my videos. But the idea is here you have tons of choices, super affordable and convenient. So you don't have to, again, spend a ton of money doing this. What's a pop microphone? A pop microphone is a screen that goes in front of your microphone, because when you say your P's or S's or F's, sometimes you get this weird popping noise, like to say phone or pop. You've got that hard P.
Pop, 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 pop.
That screen blocks out that extra air going into the mic. So when we say pop, that's when you are speaking, it stops that extra hard P. Does that make sense, Bridget? Interesting. Thank you. You're welcome.
I guess I could kind of block it by going pop, 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 pop. With
yeah.
Post a note.
It just makes it soft. It makes your voice softer too.
Yeah.
Some of them have it automatically, but yeah, I definitely would like a setup like where it's got everything with it. That's kind of what I have at home. Looks like this. I think this was about what I spent too. $50.
Wow. So yeah, I just wanted you to share that because I do like your setup, and I think this setup would also help agents out when they're working straight from home rather than out in the field.
And if you're out in the field, again, your headset for your phone device is super perfect for what you're doing. You've got your earbuds in. Now all you got to do is hit the record button, and it's just going to record clear, great audio. The biggest thing is a lot of times, especially if people are liking to listen maybe to you talk in the car, or maybe you're doing a podcast, they don't need to see you visually. They just want to hear you. So hearing you is really important. You can have the most beautiful looking video, but if they can't hear the sound or hear you talk, they're going to lose the audience. I can't hear what they said. It's so weird to hear a traffic noise in the background, or feet step or your footsteps clinking on the tile as you're walking through the house. You want to have things like this to make clearer audio. All right, part 2 of the plan, real quickly. You got to figure out what stories you want to tell and how you want to tell it. Okay. Think about the audience that you, as the agent, are wanting to connect with, and you want to consider what audience you want to attract. Okay. Like attracts like. So the way we tell this story and how we're going to tell it is going to be a big thing for us getting that type of business. Okay. Now, by the way, keep your stories or your videos short but informative. To start, small nuggets of information, no more than 2 to 3 minutes tops. Okay, depending on the topic. You want to give the audience an excuse to want more from you. You don't want to give them the entire cow. They just need a little glass of milk. Does that make sense? Total opposite of what people used to use that cow and milk scenario for, right? Why give away the milk? Or, what makes them want the milk if you're giving them the entire cow? Real estate's no different. Your business is no different. If you're saying, here's the secret sauce to making sure that you get qualified to buy a home, and you give them the entire steps, why should they ever come to you for any more? Maybe you only give them those small bits of nuggets. Remember, we're fishing for business. How do we fish? Anybody here ever fish? Leo?
We're talking grade school.
Excellent. Now, there are 2 thoughts to fishing. One is, I've got my bait, right? So my information. If I dump it in the water and I expect the fish to jump in my boat, am I going to get any fish to jump in my boat after they ate all my bait?
Very unlikely.
Very unlikely, right? What do? We put that bait on the hook. We throw that hook in the water and we get what? The one fish. And then we put more bait on and we give them again and again, right? So we're more likely going to catch, with just a little bit of bait, a bigger fish, right? Or more fish. So this is what I mean. Give them a little bit of information. Give them an excuse to want more. So maybe your video is the top 3 things to prep yourself to buy a home. Maybe somebody responds to that and says, okay, I've done those 3 things. What's number 4? What else do I need to do? Sure, tell them online. 4th step that you should do is this, but anything above and beyond that might be, may be different depending on your situation. Why don't you give me a call so we can discuss the particulars? So now what have I done? I've shown people that I'm engaging, because that's the biggest thing. We need to be engaging. So I'm going to now be engaging. I answer their question readily and quickly. Here's step number 4. But now anything above and beyond this is going to be dependent upon you, the individual. So give me a call so I can answer those questions. Now I give them an excuse to call me. We establish our rapport, connections, solidify it, and now we've got business. Now, another thing here in your videos, never ever avoid fading to black, especially with your information. End the video with your contact information. Strange enough, a lot of times when you fade to black, people begin to start to forget things. If we leave our information at the end of the video, that all of a sudden, that call to action, it gives them that reminder, hey, I want to write this information down. I need to give them a call or shoot them an email, an excuse to talk to you. And maybe you even give them some sort of call to action, like an upcoming event or something that the viewer needs to see next. Like, subscribe to my channel or watch this video for more information. Or tune in next week, same bat time, same bat channel. Leo, do you remember that show?
Why are you picking on me? I'm not that old.
It was what? Batman, right?
Yes,
Did you
it was.
tune in next week at the same bat time and the same bat channel to see the new episode of Batman? Well, guess what? We're all bat people here. We want people to tune into us.
And we had to, because it was not being recorded. It reminds me about recording. We're recording this webinar for our friends here because Monique was asking, are we recording this? Because she stepped
Yes,
away
we
for a
are
moment.
recording this.
Good. Same bad time, same bad channel. Yes.
Exactly. All right, part 3 of the plan. Schedule a time to do your videos. Consistency is going to be key. Like with everything we do, we have to be consistent with it. Now, if you only do one video, which I've talked to so many agents that have done one video and said it didn't do anything for them, well, don't expect a lot in return. If you've only done one video, don't expect a lot in return. We actually have to put out numerous videos consistently before we notice any results. I'll give you myself as an example. I have a YouTube channel. I had a YouTube channel for close to a year. I put out a video every month. By the month 8, I started to actually see some traction. Okay. Because why? Nobody knew that I was doing videos in the beginning. As a matter of fact, what's crazy is that even though your audience wants to see videos from you, the real estate professional, less than 12% of all the real estate agents nationwide do video. Less than 12%. So if you have an audience, 72% of consumers want to see videos from real estate agents, either on properties or about communities or about services, something in that fashion. But less than 12% of you are doing it. What are we not meeting? We're not meeting the consumer's needs. And if the consumer knows that we're not doing these things, they're not looking for them. So this is where we need to be consistent to show that we are doing that. Now, ideally, you should be doing a video once a week. Now, I know that it's freaked everybody out, but don't worry. No one can do this right away. I don't even expect anyone to do that right away. You got to build up to it, right? It's like working out. Leo, did you ever work out? I know you don't work out now, but did you ever work out?
Yes.
I was the same way. I'm the same way.
We
I used to work out a lot.
Yes, we used to work out. We used to work out
Now,
at the
I
local
will
gym.
say that Leo, could you bench 250 pounds right out of the gate?
I could sit down on a bench that could support 250 pounds.
The answer to that is no one. It's like working out, right? We got to build up to it. Nobody expects Leo and I to lift 250 pounds right out of the gate. We have to build up to it and build it up to it slowly, right? Just like if you were running a marathon, you can't run a 10-mile marathon if you've never run a marathon before or ever jogged, right? You pass out after, a half a block. You have to build up to it. So this is what I'm going to ask you to do. Okay. I'm going to ask you to ask yourself to do something like this. Plan at least to do one video a month. If you do one video a month, guaranteed after a year, you've got 12 videos in your video library. So now you've got some substance. Okay. And then maybe you realize that after 12 months of doing one video a month, that you realize, wow, this is super easy. Maybe you set a goal to try to do 2 videos a month the following year, right? See how it's going to go? That all of a sudden now you went from 12 videos to 36 videos in just a simple 2 years. And before you know it, you're doing one a week. Now, depending on the video and the type of video you're doing, your schedule will vary because you're going to have quarterly videos, monthly videos, weekly videos, and on the fly or as needed, videos. So your schedule is going to vary a little bit and, you just have to plan for it. Do we have a couple of questions here, Leo?
We actually have a question from Bridget. She was curious of how many parts to your plan of part 3.
4
Four.
parts.
I guess
So,
she's, writing everything down that composition book and just like, oh, let me ice the hand and let me just keep going, ice the hand, keep going.
That's right. Hey, this is why we're recording. This is why everybody, if you want, send me the request, Tony@ocrealtors.org, and I'll send you this presentation. Okay.
In fact, I will type up your email address.
Thank you. Now, the last part of the plan is part 4, uploading in the analytics. You got to be mindful where people need to view your posts. So post to your YouTube channel, post to your personal website, Facebook, Instagram, whatever. Boost the post to reach a demographic that you want, okay? Now analyze and measure your video analytics. Now, why is this important? Well, this is going to determine how well your videos are doing. You're going to see some videos get more views than other videos. Now, how long they're watched, who shares them, if they are shared, if there are comments. And by the way, if they like or dislike, that's great. But if more importantly, they respond to a comment, respond back. And what I mean by that is if they ask you a question in your comment section, make sure that you respond. It shows that you're attainable and that you are looking for these types of things. Now, analyzing the analytics, how well the videos are doing, are going to help you determine what videos you're going to do more of. Okay. So in a way, not only are you a real estate agent, you're an educating teacher to educate your clients, but you're now also a TV station. Anybody remember back in the days where TVs used to have seasons, meaning that fall season was when all the new shows came out, and then the spring, summer season were all the repeats of that fall and winter season before the next fall season of the next season of the show?
Boy, how old are you?
I am pretty old, but typically the fall season was when all the pilots came out, all the pilots for potential new shows. And depending on the audience viewing of those shows, determined if the TV station would ever pick up that show. Right? Barney Miller, Good Times, Cheers, if you remember
Street
back down that far.
Streets of San Francisco, Starsky and Hutch.
Starsky and Hooch. Yep, exactly.
Hutch.
Exactly. You know, Hill Street Blues,
Yeah.
all those fun shows. Those are usually, given pilots. They used to be on public television to allow the audience to watch, and they gauged who watched. Even back then in the 70s and 80s. Nowadays, I think they curtail it a little bit more to a more secluded audience to see if people like a pilot before they actually do the show. But in general, they used to do that for the populace. Okay. And again, people responded, the TV stations, responded in kind. They either picked up the show or they canceled it. Okay. So now, what type of videos do you all want to make? There are tons of choices. About me videos, your intro video, super important. Introduce who you are. Now that video should be about 30 seconds long, and it should be on every marketing platform: YouTube, Facebook, Instagram. Who you are, how long you've been in the business, where you service, what you do. This is you. Now, I'm not sure, Leo, in the chat, did it have the document that I uploaded
No.
for a script?
No.
All right. So if you want, I will also email you a little script on a quarterly update video introducing yourself and maybe the market. Kind of give you a nice little outline. So if you want that, email me too about that, and I'll make sure that you get that. Obviously, most importantly, your listing videos. You list a property, show people that property. More people nowadays want to see a video of a home that's being listed to intrigue them to maybe reach out to either you or their agent to go and see that home. What else? Client testimonials. Now, this is an underrated video. I know that people write reviews, but how many of you actually pay attention to those reviews? How many of you think that those reviews are fake? Here, what you're going to do, and by the way, do I have anybody closing escrow this week or maybe within a month? And you can just raise your hands if you want. And I don't see any hands raised, so that's okay. If you are about to close escrow or have closed escrow at some point, the day that you're handing over keys, whip out your phone and say, Mr. and Mrs. Client, or Mr. and Mr. Client, or Mrs. and Mr. Client, whoever, if you don't mind, can you speak about 30 seconds and tell me and my audience what you thought about my services? And sit back and just hit record. That's going to have so much more impact than the written word. Why? Because people are going to be genuine. They're going to be totally honest about what they thought about you. And people are going to see that. They're going to see the excitement. They're going to hear the excitement in their voice, especially if it's not scripted. Things like, geez, Leo, thank you so much for representing my wife and I in our very first purchase. We didn't think that we could ever qualify to ever buy a home here in California, especially with such a low FICO score. Thank you very much for hooking us up with a great lender to help us buy our very first home. We really appreciate that. Now, if you had a client that said that about you and other people heard that client's testimonial, do you think that would have more impact than reading it on some sort of platform? Of course. You get to see and hear how excited they are. You get to see that family. It's not staged, it's live. So I think this is super important for you. Another type of video, interviews. And when I say interviews, we were talking about communities, interview the members of the Chamber of Commerce for the city. What's going on with the city? What's happening, right? But more importantly, think about the interviews of the neighborhood businesses that you're marketing in. Go door knocking on the restaurants, the cleaners, the whatever business that's local. How many of you, during COVID or around, when we were kind of in the lockdown, when things were kind of in a flux, that even though most restaurants were shut down, there were some that were open and some that you probably were like, wow, I didn't even know that place existed. You went in there and you found, oh my God, this is the greatest thing since sliced bread. I'm surprised that nobody knows about this. Well, guess what? Geez, Leo, I'm the neighborhood agent and I'd like to introduce you to my audience. Do you mind if I interview you for about a minute or two and tell my audience about your business here locally? Do you think Leo's going to be excited about that for his company? Of course, especially in today's market. Maybe Leo says, hey, we're just down the street. Leo, what kind of business are you?
Bakery.
Bakery, right? What kind of bakery? French bakery, Filipino bakery, whatever. We've got some of the best food here. We've been around for 30 years, da 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 da. Come on in, mention Tony's name, and I'll give you a 10% off your first purchase. That's great. That's going to incentivize people. Wow, we didn't know that was around. Maybe I saw it, but I never had a chance to go into it. Because how often do you drive by a place going, you know what, I got to check that out one day. And then one day that business is gone. Why? Because it got no traffic through. Here you're helping connect people to the community, which is why you have local and community videos. The market update. What's going on in the market? People want to know. Special offer videos. Leo's offering a special offer. Mention the agent that you saw. I'll give you a discount. We're tying each other together. The client process. Here's a big one. Most of your clients nowadays don't know the entire process. How many of you know the process of an escrow? I'm hoping every hand raises. From start to finish. Do your clients know the entire process? No. What do they expect you to do? Hold their hands. Why? Too many clients nowadays have told people publicly that they don't like working with a real estate agent because they felt they didn't understand the process. They felt that the agent was there just to write up the offer, and then they were left to their own devices. Nobody explained the process. Maybe this is a great opportunity to do a private video that you've recorded. Hey, Leo, just want to let you know that we just opened escrow. Congratulations. So per the contract, we've got a 45-day escrow. We've got a 17-day contingency period. What does that mean? In the next 17 days, we're going to need to do some inspections to make sure that this is the right fit for you and that there are no problems with the house. Hey, also during this time period, The listing agent and the seller are going to be able to get us disclosures for us to review. I'm here for you to walk you through this process. By the way, the lenders that we've got, they're going to require you to do X, Y, and Z. By the way, no big purchases while you're in escrow. You don't want to mess up your credit score. Future videos to go along as we get closer to the end. Home buyer and seller advice videos. Top 3 things to do to list or sell or buy a property, right? Instructional videos. Hey, Leo, you're part of my team. Let's do a video and I'll instruct you what you need to do, how you run an open house, how you write up a contract, whatever. Hey, buyer, hey, seller, this is what I need you to do. You want to get top dollar for your home, you need to do the following. Write down the list. Your team and office cultures videos, if you choose, events, and of course your year-end review. I want to thank the people that have got me here today, still keeping me in the business. Leo, thank you very much for being a buyer today and a seller tomorrow of your home. That helped me with my bills. So I hope that you are enjoying that brand new property there in Malibu, overlooking the ocean, those types of things. And of course, your listing and pre-listing videos. So if you're doing listing presentations or pre-listing packets, include a video. Real quickly, types of video will dictate your calendar. So your year-end review, guess how many times you're going to do that? Once a year, right? A market update, that should be your monthly or quarterly. Community information, that should be your weekly or monthly because things happen in the community that often. Client videos are as needed. Instructional videos are monthly. Just knowing these types of videos that you want to do, that you're putting down on your schedule, this is what you're going to do to be able to plan and strategize. Now, the final part of this entire game plan that we've all talked about today is the meet and greet. Once we've established our connection, now it's time to meet that person or get that person offline and meet them in person, right? Friendships are totally solidified when people actually meet each other. Because why? Real estate is still a face-to-face business. Regardless of all these big tech companies out there and what you're seeing at these conferences nowadays, though they have started to change their message, real estate is still face-to-face. People still need to have that personal connection to that property that they are now purchasing, because what's more personal than real estate? You're helping people buy and sell their memories. You are a large part of that. And part of being part of that is being there physically in front of them, right? It's great that they can talk about wanting to make an offer all day, but they won't make an offer until they physically have seen that home. So our job, get them offline and be there at the property or meet them face to face in some fashion to show that we are there for them. So the end goal, we try to make inform these relationships online. We want to earn their connections by building trust and being vulnerable. We want to get other people to like us, to be attracted to our businesses and our personas, to come into us, and then ultimately we're going to meet up and close that deal. Because at the end of the day, what do we do when we can provide this type of customer service is what? Anybody? A what? Payday. That's our reward. Our reward for all of this hard work that we're doing is that we get rewarded by a payday. Our commissions, our fees. Now, there are things to remember. Be mindful that there are rules and regulations that we have to be mindful of, right? We can't take photos and videos of other agents' properties. It's against Code of Ethics, MLS Rule 12.8. The listing shall not be advertised in any media other than the participant or subscriber of the MLS basically the listing broker. So that means unless you get it in writing, you cannot take a photo or a video in any fashion of someone else's property. Even if it's an open house held by, say, Leo, I can't walk in and start doing a video immediately. Maybe contractually, Leo has been instructed by the seller that no one else is allowed to take video or photos of their home. And if I'm doing a video, what happens if I say something incorrectly about the property? Now I've hindered the seller and Leo from selling that home because I've said something erroneous. So don't go to another person's open house and start taking video. That's a big no-no. Another thing, MLS rules. So not only is this a code of ethics violation, or I'm sorry, not only is this an MLS rules violation, but it's also a code of ethics violation. Why? Because you don't want to give the misperception that I might be the listing agent when in actuality it's Leo. And if Leo didn't give me permissions to use that property that he's the listing agent on, or he's the listing broker on, then we can't do that. Now, if he does give me permission, like with your MLS rules when it comes to advertising another property that's not yours or that you're not involved in, then I have to give not only the full address of the property, but I also have to give the listing agent and the listing brokerage credit. So when I get it in writing that I am allowed to do a video, maybe Leo and I work at the same company, but Leo's a listing agent and I am not. If I do a video, I have to get Leo's permission, number one, to do that video. And once I do it, I now have to say this property at 123 Main Street in Irvine is listed by our company, Jack and Jill Real Estate, but the listing agent is Leo Loera. I'm just here hosting the open house. That way we're totally upfront about any possible misrepresentation. All right, that's it. Are there any questions?
One thing to point out is the email address that's listed on the screen, tony@ocar.org. That's the old email address, but it'll still work. It'll redirect you to the new email address of tony@ocrealtors.org. So don't be like going, no, you'll still get a hold of Anthony. So I call him Anthony. He goes by Tony.
Tony, Anthony, Erica, Jason, Juan.
Ray
20 years
sometimes.
I've been called everything. All right. Are there any questions at all? Did I overwhelm anybody today with information?
But it was great information. I mean, it's just at the very basics. It teaches you how to be aware of using your Facebook skills and use it just not only for business purposes, also just using it for any kind of interactions you may have with your loved ones. But you still want to maintain your business site, so that way that's your bread and butter.
Well, you just want to be professional, especially online. The one thing I always tell agents is, just be mindful of what you're posting. The last thing you want to do is post a picture of yourself or have someone post a picture of you laying on the bar, opening a bottle of tequila, especially if you've got clients that are friends with you on those platforms, because now all of a sudden, what impression are you giving them? Great that you're a great person to go and party with, but then realistically, can I trust this person who seems to be totally out of control with my largest ever owned asset? So we've got to be really careful about that. That's a fine line. Sure, I can still have a good time, but I don't want to show the world that I am out of control or be perceived as being out of control. So we need to have that level of professionalism 24/7, which I know can be a little bit of a bummer.
Yes.
But it's realistic. We need to be more in control and show that we are in control. We don't get hot-headed. We don't lose our tempers, which is why we operate under a code of conduct when it comes to dealing with trollers and people who want to get us into debate. We've got to maintain that level of control, because that also shows how we conduct ourselves in a business transaction, right? If I can maintain this control personally on Facebook or Twitter or LinkedIn, then am I going to be able to, will I have that same control during the escrow process? Which, if I can control myself there, I can control myself then. So anyway.
We had something from Human Nori. He was asking if there was a training course earlier today for beginners, and yes, we
There
announced at the
was,
beginning.
but we had a mess up on the link, so I apologize for
We
that,
apologize
Human.
for that.
So we do have that. I do have a pre-recorded video on our YouTube channel. So if you go to youtube.com and look up either Orange County Realtors or my name, Tony Bried, Bried. There you can see my channel. Hopefully. So go into my channel. But here I've got several videos, one of which will be social media marketing for beginners. So that one is pre-recorded, and we are recording today's as well. Okay. Are there any other questions or concerns? Did anybody like this class today? Was it helpful? Well, I know you.
I'm a very biased opinion. Sorry.
Yes, yes.
And I hope that all of you took something away from it. And when you watch it again and again, that each time you watch it, you get something else from it, and then you actually act on what you've learned from today's video.
Good. Well, I see a few people here, Tony and Sandrine. Thank you. Thank you. So, all right. Well, with that said, I want to thank everybody for attending today. If there are no other questions, I hope you all have a great time. I hope that this will give you some path to start creating consistency and content for your social media marketing platforms. That way you can start making it successful. If you do have any questions, please feel free to reach out to me, either call me or email me, and I'll write that here in the chat to everyone.
Here's some questions from Monique. She's trying to remove the old brokerage name off of her business in Facebook and can't.
What do you mean you can't? What seems to be going on? Like you're in your Facebook business page, or is the business page name your brokerage?
Cannot edit it.
Well, let's take that offline. Give me a call, 949-586-6800 extension 104. So as soon as I hang up, I'll turn on my phone, and then you can give me a call and we can walk through that process. But you should be able to. The only thing you got to be careful of is if you embedded the brokerage name as part of your Facebook business page name, you can only change that like twice ever. So if you've already gone through a process where you've already updated your business page name twice, you now literally have to create a brand new Facebook business page. This is why I tell agents, don't ever put your brokerage name as part of your business page name unless you're the broker. So because you're very limited to how many times you can change your business page. So, or the name of your business page. So that's why if you have the background images with your company information, that's great, because you can easily swap those out time and time again. And then each post, you'll always begin it with at least your business or the name of the company, followed by whatever you're posting. But again, we can talk about that a little bit later.
And I posted Anthony's phone number on the chat for everyone to take advantage of it.
All right. Well, with that said, everybody, I want to thank everybody for attending today. I hope everybody has a great and wonderful holiday season if I don't see or hear from you. And with that said, I will talk to you all soon.